Period 3 covers from 600 BC till 1450 BC. That's almost 1,000 years of history in 3 minutes. Well, 850. Anyways, let's get started. This time period represents the changes in the empires that rose out of the classical period. One of the most important things from this time period is the rise of Islam. Founded by the Prophet Muhammad in 1622, people of the Islamic faith, or Muslims, believe in the 5 pillars of Islam, admitting the fact that there's only one God, praying regularly, giving alms, fasting, and the pilgrimage to the Kaaba in Mecca. It's also important to note that Muslims recognize Jews and Christians as being people of the book, but do not acknowledge Jesus as the Son of God. After Muhammad died, the Islamic Empire became a caliphate, making it a theocracy. However, after the first 4 caliphs died, a schism emerged over who should inherit the position of caliph. The Shiites believed that the position should be inherited, while the Shias believed that it should be elected from the population. This in turn led to the formation of the Umayyad dynasty. Then, the Shias decided that it was their turn and created the Abbasid dynasty. An important thing to note about the Islamic empires is the fact that the formation of the Quran, a collection of Muhammad's teachings, led to an increase in women's rights. Meanwhile in Europe, after it split into Byzantium and the West, the Franks soon established the Holy Roman Empire under Charlemagne. The main reason that this is important is because it is a sign that the empire's legitimacy was based on the authority of the church. Another important thing to note is the development of feudalism and the 3-field farming system. But the church comes back into play during the Crusades when Pope Innocent III ordered Western soldiers to go to the Holy Land, which was under Muslim control, and to bring back holy relics, like masses of early, brutal Indiana Joneses. All of the Crusades were essentially complete and utter failures. Moving on. No offense to any of you that may have lived back then, but the 14th century was really a crappy time to be alive. Firstly, the bubonic plague, or Black Death, swept across Europe, killing nearly a third of the population. Then the church became more aggressive toward non-believer policy, leading to what was called the Church Militant, which founded the now infamous Spanish Inquisition. Also in Europe, we had William the Conqueror and the formation of Magna Carta, leading to the development of England very early on. Then there's the 100 Years' War, and Joan of Arc, and Ivan the Terrible, and the formation of the Russian Empire, and the unification of Spain under Ferdinand and Isabella. Onwards towards Africa. Essentially, the only thing that you need to know about Africa during this time period is the fact that Islam spelled the Kush, Axum, and the Swahili coast. The only reason that Islam was able to do so is because the Swahili coast had a lot of one thing: gold, earning it the name the Gold Coast. Mansa Musa made the annual trip to Mecca, bringing with him more gold than you thought was possible. Asia saw the rise of the Mongols. Genghis Khan swept across Asia, pushing well into Europe and even overthrowing the all-powerful Abbasid Empire. The most important thing to know about the Mongols is that they had the largest empire in all of history, and created sort of a golden age known as Pax Mongolia. Most notably, this included the flourishing of a series of trade networks, also known as the Silk Roads. These Silk Roads enabled people in China to trade with people in Italy. China saw the rise of the Tang and Song dynasties, sometimes referred to as the height of the Chinese civilization. A development of Chinese society produced foot binding, designed to inhibit women. Buddhism spread from China to Japan in a continuation of, wait for it, the Silk Roads. Also in Japan, Shintoism took hold and the Taika reforms tried to make Japan more like China under the Fujiwara Reformation. Finally, over in Mexico, the Aztecs were busy pillaging around and generally uniting the nation. They were exceptionally expansionist and had a professional army. Also, they had a thing for human sacrifice. Then came the Incas, who were further south. They were a lot like the ancient Egyptians, and they built the now popular destination Machu Picchu. Remind you of anything? So that wraps it up for period 3. The year is now 1450.